That was a fun toe tapper for sure. Thanks, Lily. Good morning and welcome to Monte Vista Unitarian Universalist Congregation, to our Zoom people, and to everybody here. Welcome. And we're glad you're here today on the last Sunday of July already. I can't believe it. Time flies. I just want to have a few little reminders and announcements for you today. I'm representing the Board of Trustees. My name is Debbie Skirto. And a reminder is that the choir is on break for the summer until probably the end of next month, sometime in August, and then we'll sing sometime in September. So that's coming up. Also, we have several things happening after service today. We have the young adults meeting. We also have the Justice Team's first team meeting. We're going to be meeting in the Founders Room, and it'll start after service. And we'll be starting to think about how to pick some people to be the leadership, the managers of the team, and talking about what the expectations are. So if you're interested, please come on down. And also know that in your announcements, your community connections on Thursday, you have a list of all the different teams. So there will be meetings for the community team. I think that is August 4th coming up. So that's next Sunday will be community team. The spiritual life team will be on August 18th for the first meeting. And we will have to let you know when the administrative team's meeting, because that's a little different. Excuse me. The Board of Trustees is meeting always on the 20th of August, and it's at 10:30 in the morning, and it'll be on Zoom, and it's open if you want to come and just sit in or see what's going on. That's great. If you have something you want to bring up to the board, please let me know, and I'll put you on the agenda. Okay? Also, on September 5th, if you're interested in going to Romania, you can go to the ICUUW convention, and that should be very exciting. And on backing up a little bit, on August 10th at 10:30 in the morning, we'll be having Ron Aswad's memorial. He's Adnan Aswad's son, and that'll be August 10th at 10:30 here. Okay, you're all invited. Also, I just wanted to say a big thank you to everybody for your patience about the access. The fire department has put some really interesting requirements on us about door handles and locks and master locks and access to everything, because if there were a fire, they would have to get into every room to check if there was someone in there. So we have to have every key available to them and labeled, and we have to make sure they all work. And we have to have the master for every single external door on the campus. So we've been working with the locksmith, and we're so close to having that done. And we also are looking, the board will be working on an access policy coming up real soon in August. So stay tuned for all of that. Today, after service, also on the patio, we're going to have an opportunity for you to get involved in writing a little comment on an already written letter for Vote Forward. This group of letters will go to Arizona voters, and really all you have to do is say, please vote, or your vote matters, or something like that. You don't have to write a whole letter, okay? It's really easy. And we already have stamps and all the addresses it goes to, but they have found in the past that it really makes a difference if they get something that has handwriting on it, okay, personalized. If someone gets that, they might have thought, I don't know if I want to vote, I'm so confused. But this might turn the key for them to come and vote, which we want everybody to exercise that right. Okay, and now I would like to introduce Reverend Maggie Yenoki, our minister.
Hello, everyone. Hello, and hello to our Zoom sanctuary. We have a couple new visitors coming to join us via Zoom today. So we're really glad to have them here. And I have a couple of little announcements. Just one big one, I think. On Thursday, George and I will be leaving to go to New York. We're going to go visit my grandson. He's turning 5. How can that happen? I don't believe it. But then the secret part is I have my 50th high school reunion in the same trip. So, yeah. It's one of those things. Aging is a wonderful thing. So I'm looking forward to this trip, but I'll be gone from the 1st, and we get back at like midnight on the 13th. But you can please call Reverend Ellen or Catherine Rowley if you have any pastoral care needs at that time. Okay. So we open our service with a ringing of the bell. We ring it 3 times. Once honoring yesterday. Once celebrating today. And once awaiting tomorrow. And today's kind of an exciting and magical day because Lily Ostadio is back after being up at camp all summer. So Lily, I'd like to invite you up, please, to light our chalice. Our time together in worship is tightly woven into our lives, and we enjoy all the ways that this hour nourishes our experiences and our deeper thoughts throughout the week. So we light our chalice, thanks Lily. We light our chalice at each of our gatherings in order to celebrate that connection, our connection to our hopes and dreams, and our connection to our shared history and to the ancestors that reside there. I invite you to hear the words of Melanie Davis in this reading that she titled, A Spark of Hope. If ever there were a time for a candle in the darkness, this would be it. Using this spark of hope, we kindle this flame of love, we ignite this light of peace, and we feed this flame of justice. May it be so. I invite you to stand now as we sing our anthem. We'll sing our invocation, Spirit of Life. We'll sing it first in English and then in Spanish. The words are on the screen. And the music is in the hymnal number 123. Let's read together our congregational covenant on the screen. We affirm that love is the greatest purpose of this congregation. The search for truth is our constant star, and service is our prayer. We pledge our hearts, minds, and hands to challenge injustice with courage, to make choices for a healthier planet, and to live out our Unitarian Universalist values every day as beloved community. Thus do we covenant with each other and with all that is sacred in life. Please be seated. But I invite Robert to come up for our wisdom tale. Should have told you to find one about oceans.
Good morning, everybody. Today's story is called Weaving Our Path by Martha Dallas. Imagine with me that you're going along in a trail in the woods in Vermont, and you come across a steep gorge with a river at the bottom. There is only one way to get across the bridge, but it's a bridge made out of grass. What I want to know is what kind of questions would be running through your mind before you set foot on a grass bridge? Does anybody have an idea? Like what would be running through your mind? Is it safe, right? What I want to know more than anything else is if the people who made the bridge also walked across it and whether they still use it. Of course, we don't have bridges made of grass in our state, but many were built for hundreds of years in South America by the Inca people, and I think a few still exist. Here's how they did it. First, they made fresh bridges once a year. On the appointed day, everyone in the village would gather to begin work. Each person had a special role to play in building the bridge. First, there were people who gathered the grass. Then other people took the grass and twisted it into long ropes. Then the people that took those ropes and wove them into thick braids. And those braids were twisted by other people into long cables as thick as my arm. Certain people strung the cables across the gorge and pulled them nice and tight, and finally there were riggers who would lash the cables together in such ways as to create a footbed to walk on and rails on each side to hold. Each person did their part as best they could, and they relied on everyone else to do their part as well, because every one of them needed the bridge to safely carry them across the river whenever they needed to go that way. And I tell you about grass bridges this morning for two reasons. First, it reminds us of how important our small part is when it's part of something big and strong and even miraculous as a bridge made of grass. And these bridges could span as long as 60 feet. That's so long, imagine walking on a grass bridge from the front of our sanctuary all the way to the back by the fireplace. And they could hold up to 5 people at a time and llamas. Second, we in this congregation may not be building a bridge across a raging river, but we are building a way towards our future, our shared vision. And I want to walk that way. I hope many of you will walk that way too. And if I'm going to walk that way, I want to walk a way that feels sure and strong and safe. A way that I know has been built well with everyone doing their part as best as they can. So may we all build that way together, like the Inca grass bridge. Thank you. And I think the only child we have in person today is Donovan, who's already outside playing. So you guys can sing me out.
Well, let's sing anyway. Something I wanted to mention during the chalice lighting. I was reflecting on the opening of the Olympics that has just been so fantastic. And when I just think about how all of the people that carry that torch through the world, and I can't help but steal it for us, because it's our chalice, that flame that is carried by all of us. And here it is, glowing before us today. And one of the ways that we stretch open all of our lives toward a greater generosity is to share our offerings that are not designated as pledges to our budget expenses with a local charity that aligns with our values, and it's pre-selected by the justice team and then approved by the board. And for the month of July, and today is our last Sunday in July, that we will be sharing our plate with the good work of the Prison Library Project. We are grateful to have this opportunity to support the Prison Library Project and to be here together, digging into our shared work and activating the change that is so needed in our community and in the world. So it is with deep gratitude for the many gifts that you all bring to this community that our generous offerings will now be given and received. Please come forward. I can go home now. That was beautiful. Thank you so much. Our joys and our sorrows, our shine and our shadow, they are all normal pieces of our lives that sometimes we want to share, and sometimes we just walk with them inside. This is a time of our service where every week we honor those ups and downs and the things that are weighing us heavy, or the things that are lifting us up. And I have an uplifting message right now from Marie, Inland Maria. I didn't know you had such a famous neighbor, but let me be careful with the pronunciation of her name. Hahaira Gonzalez, a fellow Glendora resident, a Glendoran, is that what you're called? Yeah. We're wishing her good luck at the Olympics. She is on the Olympic women's boxing team. Yeah, and she won her first bout yesterday against a French, and yes, in France, and the crowd was very loud, and the former gold medal winner, was that the French person? Oh, what? That was a lot against her, but she won. And her next bout is on Monday, and she said the crowd motivated her to excel. That's wonderful. Yeah, maybe we can have her come visit sometime when she gets back. Tell us all about it and show us her gold medal. I don't think I've ever seen one in person. Yeah. So normally I have a few things from the world that I want to share at this time with everyone, because I know we're all carrying feelings about things that are happening in the world, but I'm going to do that a little bit in my sermon, and I don't really have anything else. What I put in here was Olympics. But the one thing that I really want to celebrate, and if you have not seen this, please treat yourself and look it up on the French TV app, is Celine Dion's. Wow. I've got goosebumps just saying her name and just feeling that was just so powerful. And it had been so long since I'd seen her, or any of us had seen her sing, and she's just got it back. Wow, just super incredible. Please watch it again and again. If we're Facebook friends, you can find the link on my Facebook. But I invite you now to enjoy a bit of meditation practice and prayer with me as you're comfortable. We will place our feet flat on the earth and let our hands just lay comfortably in our laps, and maybe let your eyes float gently closed as we try to shift our attention away from thinking to a more embodied curiosity. We notice our attention moving from our very active brain to our body as we remind ourselves that we don't need to believe everything that we think. We inquire about the sensations that call out for our attention. And as we pull the plug on our thinking and we listen in from the neck down, noticing how the palms of our hands might tingle as we feel their aliveness. We feel the bottoms of our feet sending energy out through our shoes, through the floor, into the earth. And we receive back the love of Mother Earth, holding us close with her gravity. And thoughts come and we let them go like imaginary balloons. Returning to our breath, not controlling it or forcing it, just noticing it. And our loving hearts and our bodies that serve us so well as the sacred vessels of our souls. And with a moment of silent gratitude, we pray. Spirit of life, of love, and of truth, sensed in our breathing in and breathing out, quiet our minds and our nervous systems, even if only for a moment. Calm the muscles of our body, even if only for a moment. And we allow our souls to feel soothed, even if only in this holy moment. And when uncertainty pervades, Spirit gives us rest from the worry. And when fear rises, Spirit gives us calm vision and peace. And when pain surfaces, Spirit gives us courage and strength. Some of our spirits are so weary, and some of our bodies feel tired and fried. Some of our minds feel frantic and uneasy. How long will this last, we ask in desperation. It is that very same spirit of life, life-giving love, that reminds us of the natural cycles of life, so that we might turn toward the dawn, turn toward the rebirth that we have been holding on for, with new hope. And may the hope that comes be alive in our conscious awareness, a hope that burns brighter than our fears. And may that bright hope shine to others for them to witness, so that our faith might be a beacon and our love a lamp to light the way. So may a luminous spirit fill us with gratitude as we turn toward one another in this human family, never alone on our journeys, and always reminded of a greater love that holds all. Let's sing about that now. We have a treat today.
Yeah, and I don't need I don't need this.
Okay, that's kind of there as my railing, because I've gone over the edge a couple times. But you're welcome.
Good morning, fellow cat lovers. That's an inside joke, isn't it? I happen to like dogs better, but that's okay. As a Unitarian Universalist, I am privileged to find comfort and hope in any religion I might be studying or exposed to. Any ideas that might resonate with me in this moment. This morning, I am going to share with you, briefly, two approaches from different sources that might bring us more understanding of how things really are and how we might face them. The first I call on is what we are studying now in our Buddhist Sangha, a meditation and study group that we call Clear Mountain Sangha. It meets once a month at my home, and it's led by Lynn Schabel and others This time we are dipping into the first noble truth from the Bible, from the Buddha. Bible, not the Bible. The major focus of his counsel is that life is suffering. We modern interpreters sometimes prefer the phrase, life is unsatisfactory. Because even when it is pleasurable, there still may be anxiety. We know it will not last. Life can be hard to face. The Buddhists call this principle dukkha, D-U-K-K-H-A. Aging, death, pain, grief, disease, despair are all dukkha. Not getting what is wanted is dukkha. Separation from a loved one is dukkha. The original Pali word refers to a broken axle on your ox cart. Life can be a bumpy ride. And yet, it is possible to ease suffering. We can find skillful ways of working with it if we are not running away from our fighting the painful aspect of ourselves. We can instead learn to practice being at ease with what is not satisfactory for us. Now I'm going to ask you to do a simple thing. Put your hand to your heart for a moment. Try to be aware of your pain. Spend just a moment letting in whatever discomfort you may be feeling right now. Then take a deep breath and try to experience the pain of others and what they may be feeling this morning. Remembering that nothing in this world is static. Everything is dependent on our changing situations. There comes a time when we have to put aside any security blankets we might count on, when we need to be comforted. The wisdom of the Buddhist teaching can be filtered through our own you experience, on our focus on the truth, and this moment's reality, the reality of what is right now. So the Buddha was not just a grouchy, tough-minded pessimist, trying to wake us up to the fact that dukkha happens. I want a t-shirt that says dukkha happens. You may wonder, is there nothing we can do about it? Yes, of course. In order to let go of dukkha, of pain and sadness, we can stop fighting our suffering. We can find peace, deeper peace, and conscious awareness. Fully feel the reality of our suffering. We know that all beings at times suffer. Connect with them for a moment. Yes, we are all prone. Joe Biden suffers, Kamala suffers, yes, Donald suffers, even Taylor Swift suffers. maybe, someday. But we're all on this bumpy ox cart together. Through deep reflection, we can fix that axle. We can start spending less time and energy running away from our suffering and begin learning new ways to relate to it. With awareness of the wisdom we learn from Buddhist thought and from our own sangha here, our own community. We can quit running away from it and instead be willing to experience those feelings completely. We can slowly begin training ourselves to understand and even to accept what we cannot change. We can stop resisting change and disappointments in people and the whimsies of nature. We will have arrived at what the Buddhists call skillful means. Skillful means. The ways to accept and maybe even at times enjoy those feelings. With a spacious mind and a kind heart, compassion, you and I can learn you don't need to throw away your difficulties, but transform them, and experience them in a different way. Namaste. And from a different tradition, in the year 1513, Christian era, father, monk probably, Giovanni, who told us this: the gloom of the world is but a shadow. Behind it, yet within it, is joy. There is a radiance and a glory in the darkness, if we could see. And to see, we have only to look. I beseech you to look. Life is so generous a giver. Welcome it, grasp it, and you touch the angel's hand that brings it to you. Everything we call a trial, a sorrow, or a duty, the angel's hand is there, the gift is there, and the wonder of the overshadowing presence. Our joys, too. Be not content with them as joys. They, too, conceal diviner gifts. And so at this time, I greet you. Not quite as the world sends greetings, but with profound esteem and the prayer that for you and all of us, now and forever, the day breaks and the shadows flee away. So be it.
Yeah. Thank you, Lily. And thank you, Ellen. Thank you. It was March 19th, 2020, when Dr. Muntu Davis the health officer for the County of Los Angeles, issued the first of what would be several orders prohibiting all events and gatherings of 10 persons or more in Los Angeles County. It was called the Safer at Home Order for the control of COVID-19, and all non-essential businesses were ordered to close, and that included church. Many of us had been watching the news, and our board and I agreed to stand on the safe side, and we canceled services for our congregation on the Sunday before that date. Some of us remember still showing up that day. We opened the building to greet those who hadn't received the notice that there would be no Sunday service. And none of us understood what the days ahead were going to hold. Some of us wanted to be together to talk about what was unfolding. And being your minister for a mere 3 weeks at that time, I have fond memories of sitting around this sanctuary on that day and singing with our then board president, Cindy Allaire, on guitar, and her partner, Marcel Godemans, playing the mandolin. And looking back from here, we might see the metaphor of the musicians on the Titanic. They were playing to keep everyone calm as assessments were being made. But I was certain at that time, and I shared with many of you, that we would be back together by Easter Sunday, which fell on April 12th that year. But the Easter Bunny had other gifts for us. We knew we were in for something, and each of us had our own vision, but none of us had any idea what was rolling toward us. No one really knew what was coming, but we knew it was big, and it was getting bigger. Trust in our government was already in decline and waning even further. And we withdrew from the lives that we were clinging to and working to protect as we tried to hold hope. We separated from one another in ways that we never had before. And we cocooned in ways that brought a strange, quiet calm of sorts, but yet we were unsure how we might hold hope when uncomfortable face masks disguised our voices and our emotions. Handshakes were purposefully and awkwardly withheld. Routine doctor and dentist appointments were postponed indefinitely. A need to avoid close contact created a sense of disdain for strangers, especially those who didn't have a mask. We crossed the street when another person was walking toward us. The 6-foot distant markers that were placed on the floors of public places, some still remain to remind us. Restaurants were off limits, only open for to-go orders. All travel screeched to a halt. But grocery stores, the places where we go to gather up our nourishment for life, the place where we bump into friends and neighbors, the most common place where we share hope with strangers, also had limited access and waiting lines outside. We were suddenly thrust into a perception that we needed separation from all people in order to stay alive. And hope, especially the hope that we share in public, became a pipe dream. This unforgettable moment in world history came upon us 4 years, 4 months, and 8 days ago. And we're forever changed and still changing if we're wise. A lot of it we've forgotten. And it does us good to remember these things and how we felt when it was right upon us. But rapid change has become our companion. And as Robert's Facebook post this week announced, and he's not here now, to my delight, I love that he posted this. It says, "It has been 0 days since the last once-in-a-lifetime historic event." So we laugh, but we also know that being unable to forecast the best way forward is disconcerting, and it's anxiety-making for all of us, and especially for a new minister. I remember asking the universe, and maybe I was crying a bit and shaking my fist, as I searched for why this had to come so soon after I arrived, especially knowing all that you had been through. The only answer I remember receiving was, "This is big, and hope is waning. So do what you can to hold it, and trust that you will get through this." And we did. We did. We only missed one Sunday together. Pretty proud of that. So we all worked incredibly hard to create a new reality of our online sanctuary via Zoom. And what a blessing that we have so many folks with us today, joining us in that same venue. Zoom meetings were our glue, or maybe Zoom was the vessel that held our strong relationships together like glue. But the real glue, the true glue that held us together was our hope, and Zoom was the place where we were able to share it. Zoom was the only place that we were allowed to share hope as a community during those difficult days. We were able to sense each other's presence and to see the faces of one another while we were all sequestered at home. But still we felt close, and we held the center. We took care of one another, and we opened wide to whatever we could do to keep things together. Speaking words of wisdom, let it be. So as the months passed and we felt the restrictions incrementally release, we have found our way through, living out our lives in a long-lasting recovery period where we tiptoed forward and we stayed overly cautious, hesitant to exhale, let alone celebrate. But tell me if you feel it. There's a shift in energy now, especially since last Sunday, when President Biden announced he was withdrawing from the election that will take place in just 99 days from today. Vice President Kamala Harris has agreed to step into the place that he knew he needed to step out of. But please understand that we don't speak politics from our pulpit, but we do speak of news that impacts us, and energetic shifts, and fresh new hope, and especially hope that we can share in the grocery line with strangers that are unmasked. After the past 4 years of being separated and masked and kept at a distance, we've been understandably hesitant to speak of hope with anyone in public, not only because of the health risk, but also because of the risk of political discord and our looming, glooming, blooming despondency that was rooted in the reality of enduring one more trauma after another for such a very long stretch of time. It's been too long since we have felt a wild freedom to be kind to a stranger simply for the sake of being kind. But it's time, and it's needed. The grocery lines have become a lot more chatty this week, and what a relief it is to sense public hope again. Rather than the cloud of uncertainty that kept many of us worried and withdrawn, there's a fresh wind blowing to fan the hope that we have in our community and the hope that we want to share with the world. One way I've noticed this shift was at a concert we attended this past Tuesday. George and I have seen 2 concerts at the Hollywood Bowl this summer, and we noticed a marked difference between the cautious atmosphere at the first concert and the wide-open celebration this week at the LA Phil's Mozart Under the Stars with Zubin Mehta. Yeah. We recognize some of the same people arriving at their reserved seats near ours, but this week, everyone was introducing themselves and talking about their lives and visiting with us as if we were old trusted friends. And maybe, just maybe, we can be. There is a fresh new hope. It's a hope that a lot more genuine than we've ever held. It's a hope that holds us tight when we grab hold of it. It's a hope we've been missing for such a long, long time. But we recognize it like a familiar friend. Maybe one we went to high school with 50 years ago. One we might meet in the aisle of the grocery store and run to embrace. Because we're stronger for all that we've been through, and for all that we've learned, and for all of the ways that we have been changed. Because hope is always here. It's here in this room. It's there in one another's eyes. It's here in Lily's music. Speaking words of wisdom. Let it be. Let's trust ourselves and hold the center. Let's use our refreshing, newly restored hope to take care of one another and to open wide to all that we can do together. Our new reality is that from now on, we'll always be living in incredible, unprecedented, historic times. It's something we find we need to say once a week now, and maybe we can say it and smile at a stranger in the line, the grocery store, speaking words of wisdom. Let it be. I have a video as our sending song today. I hope it's motivating to you and it harmonizes with the rest of today's message. Go ahead, Jaryus. Feel free to stand up when it starts playing. I know you're going to want to sing this one out loud, especially if you know it, from Emma's Revolution. Never turning back.
Peace.
We love you.
In your online order of service, the lyric. For some reason, the lyric didn't play through Zoom, but it was on the video that I sent. Really, promise. I wouldn't have used a song with a different language without the lyric, but let us stand, please, and we'll read together our unison benediction as we wish each other well. As we extinguish our chalice flame, and close our times together to stay, may we light this light to shine through us, to strengthen us to the way ahead, and to allow our lives to serve as lights on the road, succeed so much beauty, for all things that we care so much about. Let's enjoy Lily's postlude.